And we're live. Lovely. So, welcome if you are joining us. We're very excited to be here on National Dog Day today. It seems the perfect opportunity to do a Facebook Live. So, just if you don't know me, I'm just going to start by introducing myself while lovely Sarah and Gemma do a bit of tech behind the scenes and get this shared onto their own Facebook pages as well. So my name's Claire. I run Insight Hands, which is training for sight hands, and we're based in the Midlands, but I also work with people online across the UK. So Sarah, are you live?
I am live. Just about to press the button. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Sarah from Berkshire Dog Training, based in Reading. I deal from 8-week-old puppies up to any age, really. Rescue dogs, and specialising in dogs who love to chase wildlife and making it safe for them to do so. And delighted to have Gemma join us.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Gemma. We're really excited to have you as a guest today. So if people don't know you, are you happy to tell them who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me along. I'm really grateful to be here. So my name's Gemma. I am one third of the Pet Carpenter directors, and I sort of head up the marketing and business development for our business. And essentially, the Pet Carpenter, we create handcrafted bespoke pet furniture. So imagine a crate and replacing that for a piece of furniture that becomes a functional piece for your home. And we've been running for just close to 5 years, and we deliver throughout the UK, Ireland and Channel Islands. So yes, really grateful to be here.
Thank you. Very excited. And if you know nothing about Gemma and the team at the Pet Carpenter, I urge you to go and follow them on social media. The furniture they produce is just beautiful, and I love watching your social media. You never know quite what's going to come next. So thank you for joining us. And you mentioned that you're one third of the directors. So can you tell us a bit more about who's involved in the Pet Carpenter with you, Gemma?
Yeah, of course. So founded by my brother, essentially, Harry, who is very much the face on a lot of social media. So if you do pop across there, you will see him quite a lot touring you around furniture. But essentially his background is carpentry. And at the beginning of the pandemic, he was lost all his in-the-home carpentry work, and was at home with a 3-month-old, his firstborn 3-month-old baby, wife, and a bit like, what am I going to do for work? And essentially, we had a friend reach out to me, and she just said, would you be able to create a sideboard that could have my dogs in it? And Harry was like, strange request, but I can definitely do this in my dining room. And we all have dogs and have had dogs that have had crates, so it sort of made a practical kind of sense to do. And so he created that first piece. It was in about May of 2020 lockdown, and posted it on his local carpentry page. And I think just in Plymouth, where we're based, he sold about 14 pieces in that summer, and to the point where obviously his wife decided that she didn't want him building in the dining room any longer, and so he hunted out a workshop essentially, and my background is marketing, so I had my own marketing consultancy at the time. And essentially just came in to lend a bit of a hand. So we batted around some ideas of names and brand, and landed upon the Pet Carpenter at that time. And it has evolved in terms of its look, but it's always been the Pet Carpenter. And very grateful that it's become, quite a big brand in the UK for what we do. And we love it. So yeah, that's my background. And then our third party, here's our workshop sort of operations director. He joined us a little bit later on, but he's been integral in terms of just helping us kind of streamline things in the workshop side of things, processes, those kind of things, which help us make sure that the quality pieces are delivered to clients at the end. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Brilliant.
That's just brilliant. So it's very much family-led business and family-run business. And
But yeah, very much family led, and even our mum comes in. She's a retired maths teacher, but she loves to come in and dabble with supporting with design and bits and pieces. So she's very much on hand in the background. And her dog is Loki, who's a rescue dog. So he very much features in our posts as well. So all of the dogs you'll see in our social media are typically our dogs modeling for us. So yes, very family led.
Oh, I love that, and I love seeing the dogs in your post as well. And I think if anybody's kind of tuning into this and hasn't seen the pieces, they're all bespoke, and they really are pieces of furniture. They're quite difficult to describe, but they imagine a sideboard in your living room or something like that, and your dog crate is built into that, and they are just absolutely beautiful. And there's different colors, different designs, and a whole host of things. It's just absolutely fantastic. The pieces that you produce are just absolutely stunning. And I think when we talk about dog crates, dog bedrooms, that they're not exactly the prettiest piece of furniture to have in your living room. They can be quite an eyesore, even the ones in the pretty colours, not just black. They're not exactly the lovely piece of furniture to look at, and what you produce really is, it's absolutely beautiful.
Stunning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's very much the thing. It's about and especially as we've evolved, it is very much about making that a functional part of your home, but also and so a dog crate is very practical, but it might not be that functional amongst how amongst your style, amongst your home interiors. And so it's about bringing that into your home and creating something that can be there for the lifetime of your dog and beyond. So
yeah. And I think that's, a lot of the reason why we wanted to get you on, because I know from working with young dogs, there's a real practical element, but a lot of people are uncertain about, is the den, the bedroom, as you call it. I've had a client call it the house. Is it kind? Is it the right thing to do? And there's a lot of, I think, mixed understanding out there, and then we just thought it was a great opportunity to have a great product, but also maybe dispel some of those myths, or the benefits of why having somewhere safe for the dogs to go can really, really help them and the owner guardian as well, for their own sanity. So Claire, what sort of, I think you've used crates personally, haven't you?
Yeah, in lots of opportunities. And I think that the first thing is, sometimes when people think of crates, they think of it as a they can think about it quite negatively as kind of a cage, and we have even expressions like a caged animal, and there's a lot of negative thoughts around that, and I'm really against using a crate in kind of a punishing or negative association with the dogs. It's not a place for them to go when they have been naughty or done a behavior that you don't want, and let's shove them in there and give them a time out. It's very much, like you say, Sarah, about using it as a den, and I know, Gemma, you promote this in so many ways with the work you do. It's about using them in a positive way, as a den, as a safe place, as a haven, as a bedroom. And yeah, we've used crates a lot. We had Oscar, who broke his leg and spent time in a crate. Izzy goes in a crate when I'm at the training hall, and she loves it. she'll go in a crate while the classes are going on, and she just kind of like dozes and watches whatever's going on in the hall. And honestly, I get her out the car and we do the toilet business, and then she is straight in the hall, and she will literally run down the hall to a crate, and she's in there, and she loves it, and she really loves hanging out, and she's got that great association with it, because we've trained it in a really positive way, and she loves it. And I was saying, like many of the rescue dogs, all of our dogs that we've had, there's this little area in our house that's under the stairs where there was once an appliance that we put a bed, and they've all gravitated there. Of all the beds we've got in the house, they go there because they feel enclosed and safe, and if they're unsure or when they're first adopted and their world's a bit new and uncertain, they kind of love that enclosed space, and they've all naturally gone to those kind of places to relax. And we have so many dogs I work with now that the crate is their den, it's their bedroom, it's their safe place, and they absolutely love it, from those confidence dogs to nervous dogs. It's a whole host. And I know you've done plenty with the puppies with it, Sarah, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I have. And I was just thinking, from Gemma, your perspective, when a client phones you up and, is talking around the concept that and design element, how do those conversations go? They're obviously, of the opinion that should be a positive place, but they want it to be aesthetically beautiful in their sitting room or kitchen or wherever this beautiful item will be. So, how do those conversations go? Because I think it's quite a different conversation maybe from a dog trainer to actually what you may have from a prospective client.
Yeah, so we're really very much we design from a pet first perspective. So whether that's a dog, or we do design for other pets as well, but obviously here we're talking about dogs, and we predominantly serve dog owners. But it's essentially thinking about how they use the space first before how you want it to use it. So that's something really important. Like the first thing we would always support a client. So when we're looking at measurements, we're always ensuring that the size is suitable for the dog. And obviously when you come to, for example, puppies, it's making sure that they've got the ability to grow into that space as well.
Right.
If clients are looking to get for when they're puppies. The other really important thing with puppies is we will open up the conversation about training. So if you haven't got a puppy yet, it is being really mindful. And Sarah, Claire, you will have more guidance on this, but puppies go through stages of regression, chewing. There's lots of things that you have to be mindful of, and obviously you're investing in a highly expensive piece of furniture. So if you do want to invest up front, there's things we can do to either chew protect, for example, or otherwise we would recommend training in a metal crate, which we can always send out to you, and then transitioning to your furniture once your dog is kind of comfortable and content in that space. So that's for the sort of puppy stage. And then beyond size, it's then thinking about how your dog will use that space, how often they will use that space. So we've got lots of different features that we can include that are very kind of specifically around the pet. So for example, we've got feeding drawers. Obviously, if you are leaving your dog in a space, you need to ensure they have access to water. So whether you choose to add a feeding drawer or whether you have some kind of secure water bowl holder within the space, those are something that we can add. And then we also offer like different door styles. So some dogs, they won't use their door or need to use the door all of the time. Like it might just be that you want a space there to replace the crate, but the door's typically open. So for example, I've got Finn's bed next to me, and he's actually got what we've called an up and over door. And so you can't actually see the door in the piece of furniture, but it is there if ever he were to need it. And so as an example, I don't know, about 6-8 weeks ago, he had quite a nasty fall, and he needed that rest for the night. And so I've got the door there to use. But that's a really nice style for especially when your dog's a little bit older and they don't need the door all the time. And the other doors, obviously hinge door, and we do make sure that folds back and doesn't kick out like some of those metal crates. And then sliding door is a really nice option as well. And especially for larger dogs, because that goes right halfway across the unit. So you've got a nice big open space, but it's still kept and slides within the unit. So you're not kind of having the accidental kick out. That will always potentially happen with a door. And then there's other things like soft furnishings that we can add. We work with a partner, so ditch the blanket draped crate and add your kind of drop curtains, and that's just something additional that we've been able to add on top as well.
That's fantastic. Because I do think it's really interesting, because one of the things I know when I'm especially working with younger dogs who are, everything is so new, right? So an 8-9 week old puppy who's never, used to noises and everything is an experience. A lot of the advice we do is don't just put them in there and hope for the best. It's the worst thing you can be doing. It's about, okay, make it rewarding. Enrichment is our year this year. So there's so much enrichment goes on around crate training and making it a positive association. But actually, it's more than that. It's about, okay, just even moving the door, like you say, whether, type of door can feel very different than the environment from inside. Especially the metal crates, they can be quite noisy. And and I know, having seen your beautiful products up in the Edition Dog show that we're both at with Claire as well. The mechanisms that you use are not as noisy, in comparison. So, yes, it's really important. All those factors are taken into consideration, because, a lot of the fear comes from, you know, the door accidentally bumping the puppy or the noise of the actual lock. It's not actually the location. And I think some people, we don't necessarily think of it from the little dog's perspective, going all of a sudden they're in this lovely, they've made it as best as possible, but just it takes one thing to make them a little bit spooked, doesn't it? And having that plan that you've got this lovely bedroom or house for them, you know, it helps them kind of feel that, you know, you can train for the environment, you know, that they're going to be in, but using it obviously, hopefully, you know, quieter mechanisms and things will really help them.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting you bring that up, because it's one of the things that we had never thought about until I remember chatting with Helen at dog trainer school, and she said exactly that. She said, you know, she said, one of the things I don't like about metal crates is, she's like, you get noise sensitive dogs and noise sensitive puppies, and the crates are clangy. And she was like, that's where, and I'd never even kind of thought of that as a solution, but it's a real, like, it's such an interesting one to kind of, from your perspective, go, actually, yeah, like, you are, just by creating it out of wood and a sturdy material, you're kind of removing something that might kind of make the crate training process a bit more, you know, lengthy, as it were.
Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, because I think that's, you know, that's a really important factor that we need to, you know, consider when we are, you know, working with our clients, Claire, don't we?
100%. It's very, very clangy. And you mentioned the dog trainer school there. We're all part of the dog trainer school, and a big fan of Helen and Lee and what they do. And they've actually got resources available about crate training, haven't they, as well? So they've worked closely with you on that, haven't they, Gemma, as part of...
Yeah, they've been a huge support. And I think one of the key reasons why we kind of wanted to link up was so that because like I said, we come from crate training, and me and Harry, we've got dogs and our family have got dogs, but from a very personal experience of the crate. And actually, it's really important for us to be aligned with trainers like yourselves, and the dog trainer school is that bigger umbrella, to just back those products and say, actually, yes, like, they have a stamp of the kind of approval, but also then to be able to educate our community and share that education. And one of those things is, you know, for example, we were chatting with Helen and Lee, one of the times that can be a bit tricky is actually just transitioning into a new piece of pet furniture from your crate, for example. And it's sort of being mindful that actually, whilst the majority of dogs will probably transition quite easily and it'll be quite normal, it's still understanding and remembering that that is a completely new space, and you should almost approach that transition the same way as you would a crate. So open door policy, letting your dog, give them a chance to explore on their own, having their own bed in there, you know, making it smell like them, and doing all those positive association enrichment activities before just shutting the door, because you want to create that positive experience and for it not to be alarming for them.
Definitely. And I think that's where the crate training can go wrong, that people will just go, oh, let's put them in, shut the door, do that. And suddenly these dogs trapped in an area that they don't feel comfortable in. It doesn't smell, as you say, it can be clangy. And it's really working with that positive association to build up to that. I often refer to it as den, and Steve Mann mentions in one of his books, he's got a great expression called the den wizard, and the den wizard will visit when the dog's not there. And it's a conversation I've had with many of my customers, that the den wizard will visit and put something nice in the crate while the dog is out or at the toilet or on a walk. So the dogs come in, and the first thing I want to do is go and check the crate and see if the den wizard's been. And I've used that expression, and some of my customers have come back with different things over time, and we've got like crate fairies and pixies and all sorts of things going on. All sorts of mystical characters that are involved in putting things in the crates. But it really gives that association. Those dogs are finding it as a safe place, a cool place to hang out. They do some, as Sarah said, we do the enrichment, so going and having a licky mat and decompress and go in there. But working up to that gradually before we look at shutting the door is so important, to make it that little haven, make it that bedroom, make it that den, not that scary cage. It's a safe place to hang out and get your own space.
Yeah, definitely couldn't agree more.
And we know sleep is so important for dogs, and I think it's one of those things it's part of enrichment. It's massively underestimated how much sleep a dog can need, and having a place to go and have that sleep where it's uninterrupted and it's quiet and they can get some quality sleep is so valuable. And again, I think sometimes the beds, when they're positioned in more open spaces in the house, it can be a lot more disturbed, whereas if they have got that den, that bedroom to go and tuck themselves in when they need a break, is really really valuable to those dogs for their well-being.
Yeah, I think for like one of the really interesting things is Harry's got a Sprudel called Theodore, so you might see him. He's a Springer Cross poodle. He wasn't a massive fan of a crate until they had children, and now he he loves that space now because he sees that as his opportunity to go and get his own time. And also it's been that opportunity for Harry and his wife to educate their children on actually, like, when he chooses to take himself after that, it's a chance to leave him alone, like, and actually give him that space. So that's another like really interesting example of just where that as a tool in your home for supporting the welfare of dog and children, or dog and other family members or guests, can be really like just invaluable.
Yeah, I agree. I had a customer that we were working with recently, and their dog, he struggles with socialization. He enjoys it, but he can't take too much with other dogs. And they'd been doing a lot of work around the crate and the den pixes and everything else, and he's found it as really safe space. And they said they had this dog to visit that he knows quite well, but the play got like a bit busy, and he went off and took himself into there just to go and give himself like a time out to relax and calm down and have that moment, and then came back and enjoyed it. So I think it's so special. I think we've just had a couple of comments come in. Rachel Spencer says how much she loves your stuff, and it's on a wish list for Patch. And here, let me bring it up. Patch with the same when the kids were Patch's bedroom, leave him alone. I used to wish I had one. Brilliant, Rachel.
Yeah, I think don't we all? I mean, especially, I mean, some of them are just stunning. I mean, but I mean, I know Claire's very much into, colour schemes and painting and decorating and things with her background, and I've been complimented actually when I may have gone into interior design. It was either food interior design or dog training.
Oh, wow.
And I'm very glad I chose dog training for various reasons, but I've always had an eye for it. But the colour schemes that people come up with, and the stuff. I mean, what's the craziest colour you've ever had to do? Because I'd just be curious. You've got a beautiful orange wall behind there.
Oh, yeah.
Behind you. I'm really boring. I'm dead white. I think you've got a similar colour scheme over there on the left with Claire from what I'm seeing on my screen. So, what's the most out there colour that a client's requested?
So we typically advise, we typically guide people towards a Farrow & Ball colour chart. They can colour match to their own home and stuff like that. But if they're not sure, we guide towards Farrow & Ball, and then there's the choice is endless. We've done everything from really kind of poppy reds, and I think we were talking just before, and I was saying that when they're in our workshop, sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, that's not necessarily like looking that nice, but actually as soon as it arrives in that person's home, it looks beautiful and it just fits. We did a really kind of baby pink, like quite a bright sort of baby pink piece that went into someone's kitchen, and it just looked incredible. And it's because they're like in their home and in context, it really kind of matches in. And then one of my most favorite, and it's sort of similar to your wall, Claire, is an Incra Blue by Farrow & Ball. It's just this beautiful kind of deep teal color, and we've just done a gorgeous fitted piece in a client's home, and when we were very fortunate to be able to go and actually get some proper photography done there, and it's stunning. So I think it's very personal, that choice. I've been listening to a great podcast recently called The Great Indoors, and it's by these two interior designers, and they've got a really lovely series on how to introduce color and how to design a room essentially. But it's the colors a really interesting thing, because I think it's how you want to feel in a space. And so we will get a lot of muted stuff, but then we've noticed like greens and blues have really come in over the last year. So we're seeing a lot more greens and blues. So we have a kind of standard range that we always have available in house, and then we do offer, you can, like I said, any color or material. For example, quite a few people opting for solid oak, for example, as well. So very much that's what the bespoke is about, is creating it yours for your home.
I love that teal piece. I saw that teal piece. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favourites. But as you say, we were talking just before, and you mentioned that someone recently has had a kitchen island as well. You kind of built
Yeah. So a lovely client of ours called Grania. She's got a dog called Bo, Fox Red Labrador, and yeah, they designed initially it was going to be kind of a sort of just a piece to the side, but then they actually kind of moved into their new space, and they were like, actually, this would be perfect for a kitchen island, and so they went for a gorgeous wine rack along the top, drawers down the side, and then he's got an up and over door, so like a nice kind of open entrance to his bedroom, and yeah, it's a stunning piece. And then after the fact, she opted to add bespoke drop curtains as well, just to give him that little bit of cozy space when he's in his den. So yeah.
Oh, proper bedtime. Because you can drop the curtains, but without actually dropping the crate door. So they've got the option of just kind of that screen down that they can just weave out if they want to. But it's still that kind of coziness for them.
Yeah,
a little bit more secluded to keep. Well, I love that. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Have you got any other favourite pieces or anything that's kind of really cool or quirky that you've designed? I love how many have wine racks on them. There's so many.
I know. I mean, I think the nice thing is because there is off the shelf stuff, but we create now for quite often for multiple dog homes. So if you've got 2 dogs, 3 dogs, I think we've even recently done like an L shape for 4 dogs. So they get quite big and quite kind of creative essentially. But so that's something really, and that again, we can have removable divides in there, so there's lots of options around how you can create multi-pet spaces, or if you have a big dog and a little dog, we can do things to make that work within a space. And then more recently, I'd say over the last year, we've done more and more kind of what I call vertical innovation, so looking at how you can use because imagine if you're going direct replacement for a crate. You might not have more width in your home space, but you've always got that space above the bedroom. So thinking about how you can add drawers or add a dresser top. And we've got quite a lot of people looking towards home office kind of design. Like Finn comes in my office. It's a nice quiet space that he can come to on his own in the evening if he wants, but also he's in here in the day, so he'll just be in his bedroom or sometimes sleeping on the floor, but he's got that choice to within that space. And we created a gorgeous, very large piece that is going to go along one client's wall with their desk, lots of shelving for display, a big cupboard, and then their dog's bed to the side. So that kind of vertical innovation is really possible as well, to make the most out of something functional for your home as well as for your dog.
That's brilliant. And like you say, space is optimum for so many people, isn't it? And like you say, a dog crate, especially, we've had a lot of ex-racing greyhounds, and they're not petite dogs. So the size of a crate, and obviously you want to consider that space that they need. They're big items, and like you said, if you're going to put that big item in your home, having the space above it is just fantastic. I love how you've considered as well with the kind of Farrow and Ball, the Osmo, and I've seen on your social media, everything is built around the dog first. So it's looking at what products are pet safe and what's the right products for your dog on the furniture as well.
Yeah. 100%. That's always, it's making sure that any product we do use is pet safe, but also that then the upkeep as well. So, these are the high use pieces of furniture at the end of the day. They are you've got to expect some wear and tear, but that's why we use products that ultimately then are very easy for, with a little bit of upkeep, like you would with any furniture. You can look after that piece of furniture after time and go back to those products. Which we can send out sample pots of paint. So if you've selected a particular paint, or Osmo waxes for worktops. So there is always those options of aftercare as well. And fixing dents and scratches is actually it's easy. Whether you've got a solid oak or whether you've got painted, it's not actually that difficult to kind of fix up, even if there is a little dink. So those types, it's been important to use quality materials and pet safe materials so that you've got the combination of the two.
That's brilliant. I love that. It's definitely on my to get list. From what she's saying. Looking good.
Yeah.
Oh, God, make that fit.
Premium bonds are next week, okay? So we can only hope for the premium bond win. You know, I mean, what was it? 200 million last Friday for the Euro Millions.
Oh my gosh!
I know, Phil did it, but no, yeah, we're still here. Hello. I haven't secretly won and just decided that that isn't too much.
Oh.
So, yeah, no, it's great. So how do people find you, Gemma?
So on pretty much every social media platform, we're at the Pet Carpenter. So whether that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, you can find us there. And then our website is www.thepetcarpenter.co.uk. In terms of starting a design, we've got a very intuitive design form on the website which can take you through that process, and so it just asks you a little bit about your pets. As I said before, we design from the pet first perspective, so it's nice to understand the breed of your pet or their size so that we can make sure that we're designing a space with you that works for them, as well as your home. And then it would ask for sizing and measurements, so you can either share the overall size of furniture that you want to create, or you can share, for example, the size of the crate space you already have and kind of build a piece around that. So there's a couple of options of what you can share there. And then it will take you through, choices of features and functions. And there's lots of notes sections you can upload if you want to draw and get creative. So that's one way, or you're more than welcome to drop us email, just hello@thepetcarpenter.co.uk.
And I know if anyone's interested in the handouts that Claire was mentioning earlier, feel free to get in touch with us, because we can send those on to you should you have any challenges or queries about, helping your dog love their bedroom. It's just, I think we're going to start calling it, or the den wizard or den fairy. I'm going to have to up my game. I mean,
we've got so many options, but
exactly.
The drawer you mentioned are there as well. I saw on one of your Instagram posts the drawer had the food bowl in for the dog as well. You've had drawers built out that you can pull them out and the dog food can be available, and then they can tuck back in. It's wash out and tuck the drawer back in so it's out of the way. It's just there's so many different ideas. Do you come up with the ideas, or do the customers come up with them, or do you make suggestions on the pieces?
I think it's a combination of two. Like we're quite we are led by a lot of the ideas have been inspired by clients over the period of time that we've been working, but ultimate and that's the beauty. Like that's kind of what we love. We've always battled with whether we do a standard set or standard range of furniture, but actually it's funny, we did when we first started, we almost created sizes of styles, but everybody went, oh, but I can do bespoke and I can make it my size, so it's just actually that's always been a really important, and we'll stick to that. That is our, we will offer bespoke. But so I can't quite remember what you asked me.
You were saying about the different designs, just that whether you'd come up with them or the customers, or the more things that I suppose you do or evolve.
I think it's a bit of both, and I think it's someone that goes, I want to feed it. Like, how can I feed my pet in this space? And then our team will be like, oh, actually, we can do this. One thing that's really important to mention, I think, especially when we talk about larger breed dogs and our often smaller homes or narrow doorways in the UK, is the fact that we have come up with ways that we can ensure that bigger pieces can be delivered into people's homes. Because standard doorways are between 70 and 75 centimeters. You've got a big dog, you're going to be looking at needing a space that's probably 80 centimeters depth, and that can become, people can be like, oh, I can't do it. And it's like, we actually can. Like, there's ways that we can deliver in two parts, and it can come together very easily. So we don't ever do flat pack, but we allow for those larger pieces to come into the home.
Oh, that's
really important.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. I love your products. They're just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. We enjoy doing it. We're just creating at the moment. I think we've got a dog piece with a tortoise area on top. So I'm really excited for that. And that's how creative it can get. Cats, tortoises, rabbits, dogs.
I guess, have you ever done a dog and cat one?
We have done a dog and cat one. So we had a client who essentially their dog would always eat their cat food, but their cat was getting older and they couldn't, couldn't be jumping up on our set, because I've got a cat, but she jumps up to have her food. So it's out of the way of the dog. So actually they almost had a dog bedroom on one side, and then they had a safe cat space with a cat flap at the end, and the cat feeding station in the bedroom kind of area. And yeah, so people do, you can create cat and dog pieces.
Yeah, well, they do get on, maybe less so with the old sight hound, because they do love to place them. And my two don't like the three next door that much. But apart from that, I have, examples of cats and dogs getting on. So
yeah, we had 5 that lived with a cat fine. Current 2, I'd put a big question mark over, but the previous 5 were golden. I love it. Yeah, I think is your slogan, you dream it, we create it. And when you talk about those ideas, they are just so wonderful. There's so many different options, isn't there, to explore, and really whatever you want.
I think that's a really nice thing, is that you as a client or customer can get quite playful with it, like and I'd always say, do draw out what you think you want. I think so as we become adults, we forget like what it is to be a child and draw, and you do like mood boards if you want colors, those kind of things, or if you're doing a whole room, like really kind of think about how you want your space to feel, and do those things, because actually I think that's really important for us as adults. I think we often forget, or if you've got children, get your children to design the dog bed,
No slides allowed. I think if I was a child, I'd be putting slides in, but that's a whole nother story. Brilliant. Well, thank you. I think it's been brilliant, Claire. Have you got any? I haven't got any more questions. I think Gemma's done a great job helping us understand how she created it with Harry and stuff.
Yeah, and it's lovely to know the background behind the beautiful pieces and the people behind the beautiful pieces that you make. So thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us. It's been lovely.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's really, really appreciate it.
No, that's lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Bye.